afternoon's Planning and Zoning meeting. We'd like to remind you about your cell phones to please put them on airplane mode or silent or vibrate, whatever you'd like to do. Also, if any of you would like to speak to any particular case, please fill out a blue card and bring it up to the front immediately, because we will be discussing the consent agenda and voting on that the first thing, well, actually the second thing. And we have a short video we'd like you all to see, so if you could run the video, please.
Welcome to the City of Mesa Planning and Zoning Board meeting. We appreciate your interest in the future development of our community and welcome your comments. At this time, we ask you to turn off or select the vibrate option on your mobile devices. Today's agenda includes a consent agenda. These items will be read into the record and acted on in one motion. If you would like to speak on any of these items, please fill out a blue card located in the back of the room and bring it to the front. The items will then be removed from the consent agenda and voted on individually. Each case will be introduced by city staff, then the applicant, followed by public comments. The Planning and Zoning Board makes recommendations to the City Council and votes on each case. City Council meetings are held twice a month at 5:45 p.m. in the Council chambers. Visit mesaaz.gov to view their meeting schedule. All planning and zoning meetings are broadcast live and rebroadcast on Mesa Channel 11. To view the programming schedule, visit mesachannel11.com.
All right. We have one blue card that's been submitted, which will take items D3, D4, and F1 off the consent agenda. So our first item in business is to approve the minutes from the November 19th study session and the November 20th regular Planning and Zoning Board meeting. I must abstain from both since I was not here. Beth, would you handle the voting, please?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second on the minutes?
I'll second.
And a second. Let's vote now.
The study session.
All the minutes. Okay, the motion passes to approve the minutes. 6 ayes and 1 abstention. Correct? Okay. That was
I
it,
haven't
right?
got any. What is it with you and the voting machine? That doesn't seem to work well. Seems to work for me.
Okay.
Thank you, Beth. Our next item of business is to take action on the consent agenda. And Suzanne Johnson has allowed herself to be coerced into reading the consent agenda. So take it away.
Okay, the first item is C1, which is case Z1359 in District 6, 8223 East Pecos Road. This request will allow the development of an industrial equipment repair facility in the LI zoning district. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Next item is D1, which is zoning case Z1358 in District 5, the 2000 block of North Sossaman Road. This is a modification of a planned area development to reduce setback requirements for lots in a residential subdivision. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. D2, which is case Z1360 in District 5, 602 South Edgewater Drive. This will rezone from RS6 PAD to RS6 PAD HL. This request will add a historic landmark overlay at this address. Staff recommendation is continuance. And E1, which is revisions related to the general topic of tattoo parlors and body piercing salons, will be continued to January 15th, 2014. E2, revisions related to the general topic of transit shelters. It's revisions to sections 1141.5 and 1141.8 with regard to making allowances for transit shelter and bike share signs placed on public right-of-ways or on public easements. Staff recommendation is approval as written. The last item on the consent agenda is F2, which is a preliminary plaque at Eastmark DU3 South, District 6, 9,300 to 9,900 blocks of East Ray Road, and the 5,200 to the 5,500 blocks of South Crisman Road on the west side. This request will allow the development of a 391-lot subdivision.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Please vote. It is unanimous to the ayes. So those of you here for those cases that were on the consent agenda, you're welcome to leave, or you can stay and be entertained by the rest of the meeting. Okay, we'll now turn our attention to the three cases that were taken off consent agenda and hear them as one case. That would be D3 and D4 and F1. If we could have a short synopsis by the staff, and then if we could get our citizen to please come up after that, and then we'll kind of summation after that.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this request is for a subdivision on an area of land that will be annexed into the city, approximately 40 acres. The general plan designation on this area is low-density residential, 1 to 2 units per acre, and the proposed density on the most recent plan that the applicant has provided this week is at a density of 1.775 dwelling units per acre, and so that is below the upper end of that, but it is, as we've mentioned, it is higher than our target density for that land designation. The zoning that is being sought on this site is RS15 PAD, and the PAD is allowing deviation from standard RS15 setbacks. And the main balancing act for this subdivision is that it is low density, but it is within the desert uplands area, and so we are seeking a kind of development that leaves significant open space, clusters the development, and so the applicant, through several revisions, has come to a point where they're providing 9.8 acres of open space in the 40-acre development, which equals 24% of the land as open space. A lot of that land is on the perimeter and will be revegetated in a desert fashion. Landscape material on site will be preserved. That's a requirement in the desert uplands, and will be relocated on the site in those areas. And so it's come to the point where we feel that this is a balanced approach to this site. And so the total number of lots at this point is 71 lots.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stedman. Do any board members have questions or comments for Mr. Stedman? All right, then we'd like to ask Mr. Mick Krompotik. Hope I haven't slaughtered that too bad. I think you left out all of the consonants in here.
We're used to it. You know, when people start looking and going, that's us.
Would you please state your name and address, please?
Okay, my name's Mick Krompotik, address 10524 East Adobe Road. I'm here because we're concerned that the county island that we live on is shrinking, and the people who are going to live in this new development will be cutting across from their neighborhood over to the middle school, which is on Adobe and Crisman. And they'll have probably, well, we can't guarantee, but, you know, we believe it's going to have disregard for our property. Right now, we maintain our road me and my wife, we actually pay somebody to maintain it. We don't have, there's no group or anything like that. And the shortcut is just going to be unacceptable unless there's a paved road. And the developer keeps saying that it's on not them because it's not on their land, but it's on the county, and we keep on bringing it up, and they don't do it. Our road right now, it can't handle, I mean, when you get, I don't know how many people are going to be in there, but single-family dwellings, you put that many people, and they're going to be kids, they'll be going to middle school, and that road just can't that dirt road cannot handle the amount of people that's going to be using it once development is going. This kind of development requires infrastructure in the surrounding areas, and I think the developer should pay for that, but they don't seem to, like I said before, they don't think that is their problem. And so they, and when they get done, they're going to take their money and get out, and we're going to be dealt with, this excessive traffic and craters in the road, because the more traffic, the more ruts you're going to get and everything. And so, like I said, we brought this up every time at the meetings, neighborhood meetings, and they just don't say anything. They just kind of blow it off. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. Stenman, would you like to comment on how they're going to be working the infrastructure and offsites on this thing?
Yes, I can respond to the Adobe Road that's adjacent to this parcel. The applicant will be required to provide a half road of pavement up to City of Mesa standards in that area, but it's true, they're not required to continue to the west. Mm-hmm. The rest of the infrastructure as far as utilities to the site, they will be bringing that to the site, but the roads, they're required to provide half road development along the two frontage roads, Signal Butte and Adobe.
Will they also be required to bring in infrastructure, water, sewer, if
Yes.
required by the city to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Will they be taking, before I turn it over to the board here, are intending to go to the west property line, or will they putting like a barricade at the 106th Street?
If you look at the plan, you'll see that it shows like the top half of a cul-de-sac there. Mm-hmm. And so they're completing that cul-de-sac. So the end of Adobe will be provided with a cul-de-sac, but what the neighbor is talking about is there's a dirt road that continues on beyond that cul-de-sac and goes directly to the middle school, and there would be increased interest in traffic on that road.
Do you think Public Works would be requiring a barricade along there so that nobody could access that road? That seems like that would take care of our citizens' challenge.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay.
Also barricades.
Mm-hmm.
Then.
It does. You wouldn't be able to use the road either, but but it sounds like
it's kind of like a no-win situation right now. I mean, they don't want to pay for it. Of course, the county doesn't want to pay for it. It's like, so we're as homeowners, we're left with holding the bag,
Well, you will get a half street and a half cul-de-sac.
Yeah, well, that's already there.
Is it already there?
Well, the developer prior to this, he put the road in, and he put a block fence all around the thing, and then Blanford came in, and they did some work, but not a whole lot yet.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Board members, do you have any?
Oh, I just got one. How do we know about the next, evidently, whether or not anything gets accomplished with this, or is this just like done?
When this gets either passed or denied, it'll still be going to city council meeting. And if you look at the front page of your agenda, it has the dates that it'll be shown there. It'll be introduced on January 13th and heard on January 27th.
Okay.
So that would be your second forum to discuss these issues,
Okay.
if it hasn't been resolved by then.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Board members, do you have any comments or statements or anything?
I guess the only comment is that the half-street improvements and the infrastructure, whether they're there or being proposed as part of development, that's typical of what would be required. Correct? Any
other comments? Then I'll entertain a motion. for those three. No, do we need to do each one individually, or can we do them separately?
Or together.
Or together, excuse me.
You could read them all in at once.
All right. It would be nice to have a motion for all three together.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case Z13-061, Z13-062, and F1 Adobe Meadows
Preliminary plan.
preliminary plat.
All right. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Is there any discussion? If not, please cast your votes. It passes to the unanimous. So your next venue would be City Council meeting coming up in January. All right. Is there any other business, Mr. Wesley? All right. If there isn't anything with the board, let's adjourn until January 2014.